Hey everyone, welcome back to my Florida butterfly garden. I just had a rare to my garden visitor, even though it should be common. I hardly ever see these guys. And finally, I got a little footage of it. This is a common buckeye, and they're supposed to be common, but I hardly ever see them. And I have their host plant in my garden, which is Frogfruit, which I have growing in my Florida native wetland garden. Swamp Twinflower, which I have growing in my other smaller wetland garden. And Ovateleaf Plantain that I have in my Florida native wildflower garden. They have other host plants, and being that I have 3 of them, you'd think I'd get them in my garden, but I don't. But I'm glad to see this one, so maybe this is going to be my year. I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm just going to be grateful for the one I've got. This Florida native wildflower garden is filling in and gorgeous, but the one that's right beside it, not so much. I'm going to start filling in this area with other Florida native plants. So I've got a ton of Florida native plants in pots all over this garden, from up front here of ones that I have grown from seed or propagated through cuttings, and the collection of dormant plants that are back in my work area that are now starting to grow back, and I'm figuring out who they are. Starting with giant ironweeds. You guys, Mr. Black Snake is in my... Oh, he's going through. Where are you? There he goes. See him? We haven't got to see Mr. Blacksnake in a while. What good timing. You go eat stuff. Eat rats. Right here I have some Florida native Lantana depressa, variety depressa. And I am going to add some of these to the garden, but I'm going to keep them in pots because these guys don't like cold. And if we get into the mid to low 30s, which is common in Florida, not 20s, they will freeze and not come back. So I want to put these guys in pots. And you might be thinking, well, if it's a Florida native plant, why does it die back in a freeze? Because Florida has 4 USDA gardening zones, and the B subcategories stretches it out to 8 zones. And this little guy's from South Florida pine rocklands, and not to Central Florida where I am. So it needs to get special care. So I'm meandering around my garden, gathering up some empty pots to put some of those in. All of the ones I have up here I propagated by rooting cuttings. They're very easy to propagate, and all you need is one and you'll be good to go. For now, I'm going to stick to these 3 pots, and I went ahead and set some of my propagated plants in them. If I find more pots, I will add them. Sitting right behind them is that tea bush that I bought, and I'm going to put that in the back, right back there. So it'll be in the back too, because it can get pretty big. Pollinators absolutely love this. That's what is right there that died in our hard freeze. They made it through the 30s, but they couldn't take the 20s. And you know what? There's a lot of little friends growing up in here. You see all these? These are, I think, salt marsh bushes. And there's a bunch of them in there. I have some in a pot back in my garden. They haven't done anything yet. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll pot these up and figure out what to do with them. This is another little friend, butterfly sage. Does not like the cold. So I'm going to go find a pot for this one too, because this gets the coolest little flowers on it. I can't wait to share them with you. So let me go see if I can scrounge up another pot. Actually, this pot is pretty big. So I think I'll find another pot for that one, because this likes to get tall and shrubby. And this likes to sprawl. So it doesn't need a tall pot. Okay. Found one. I have to show you the bees are loving this white indigo and the irises. This is that same bee. He just went up here. He doesn't know I followed him. We're being sneaky. Oh, it's so cute how they climb down in there. So fabulous. Bees also love this lyre leaf sage. Look how cute he is. Right down here in this little pot, there's a lot of fun stuff. This is a bee blossom. This is a lance leaf tick seed, and so is that. And this is Rudbeckia hirta. And then there's a bunch of other little, I think those are little lance leaf tick seeds. I don't know who that is. But we'll plant this whole Mod Podge of plants in that garden. Did I say Mod Podge? It's hodgepodge. What is Mod Podge? Isn't that some kind of art you make with paste? I don't know. Or is that's decoupage? What's Mod Podge? I never heard it before. Somebody tell me in the comments. I also have this spectacular red tropical sage. Look at the stem. Now that's a bamboo stick holding it up. But look at the stem. Look at the color of it. It is beautiful. Look at the leaves. There's something about the red ones. They're darker, they're richer. And anyway, this one is going to go in that Florida Native Wildflower Garden also. Here's one of the tick seeds that's flowering I have down in my other garden. So we'll have some of those there. I think they die back and then reseed and come back. So they're more like annuals. Actually, I think all the plants in that pot were, I know the Rudbeckia hirta does, and I think the bee blossom, I think it does also. This is the Coreopsis lanceolata. I also have the Leavenworthii, somewhere down in the wildflower garden. It's not flowering yet. Right here, I've got some hammock snakeroot. You know we've got to add some of that to that side of the garden. I love it. Look who is back. Laying more eggs. I'm going to be overrun with babies, y'all. As much pipevine as I have. This is a polydamas swallowtail butterfly, my favorite. I don't have enough for all these eggs she's laying. I already took that one bunch in. I found more eggs in 2 other spots of my garden. And now she's back laying more. Oh my gosh, she's beautiful though. This is one that I raised, I'm certain, from an egg last fall. She overwintered with me. I recently released them all in my garden as they closed. And this little one's been coming back. Speaking of pipevine, I have some great news to share. I mean, it's not as great as the fact that I have polydamas swallowtail butterflies back in my garden and I have eggs, but my potted Aristolochia tomentosas are growing back. And I am thrilled because I was beginning to think this was not going to be a usable pipevine for me. But it's growing back and it's growing pretty fast, which is making me think that now that these are second year plants, they might be stronger and more aggressive growers, just like second year swamp milkweed. You look at this one. These are all tomentosas. My other one I had in here froze and it has not come back. So now I'm down to tomentosas. I do have some of the other one, which we believe is the elegans, in pots that I will use to feed caterpillars. And there are eggs on a good number of them. Even my pipevines that I planted by this trellis, look, they're actually growing and growing up the trellis. So this is very exciting. However, I still do not have enough to feed all these caterpillar eggs if they all hatched and thrived. But you know that's not going to happen. But the ones that I have in here are going to get the chance to become butterflies. Well, as long as they hatch, they're still eggs. Hopefully, all of these little babies will hatch, and they actually are changing color. That's a very, very good sign. So currently I have 2 caterpillar raising enclosures in my garden room, and that one's for the polydamas, and this one is currently filled with my little golf fritillaries, who I will probably stop raising after I start seeing them more regularly in my garden, because they tend to sustain themselves quite well just in the design of my garden and using what I have provided for them to colonize. And if you're wondering where the monarchs are, we're going to go see that adorableness right now. I have moved them all out here, and I set up some little risers for them. You know, my little shelf units I love so much. Let's go in and see. Okay, first of all, I have to tell you, there's a bunch of them. Like, there's a lot more than I even knew. So let's go see them first. Look at them. Oh, they're adorable. Happily munching away. Look at this little guy. And then down the same stem, we have these 2. And then look at this guy back here. They're all so big. So I think I'm going to have chrysalide soon. And so the reason why I put these little shells in here is because underneath them would be a great place to pupate. So instead of them having to make their way up to the ceiling of this enclosure, when they climb down from their plant, they'll end up here, and I think they'll think, oh, this seems like a good space, and I can see them going under here and pupating, or even under this one. So I kind of have it set up that way. I have some that are just one story high. We have the 1-story version and the 2-story version. Say, look at me, I'm adorable. Oh my gosh. So I'm really so excited to see how this all plays out in here. And I like that I can control the number that are in here. Well, at least I thought I did. Now there's some queen eggs on one of these plants too, so I'll probably have some queen caterpillars soon. But I also love that monarchs aren't going to be regularly landing on these plants and possibly sprinkling OE spores because they can't get to them. And yes, occasionally I'll set a plant out so they can get eggs laid on them, but it's just one plant out at one time for one butterfly, not repeated over and over butterflies coming and landing and sprinkling spores. So it's just going to be interesting to watch and see how this all unfolds. And of course, I will bring you all along for that ride. Look at this little guy. He's huge. Sir, you need to go pupate. I want to see you flying in my garden. And also down around here and behind, I have my Mexican sunflowers, another favorite of the sneaky snacker. And I'm gonna show you how that's going out in the garden in just a minute. But another thing I like about these being up high is if the sneaky snacker were to come along, and I don't know how all this works, but in my mind, this works. If the plants were on the ground, they'd be lower and closer to the snacker. And because I'm concerned it could easily eat its way through the side of this and want to come in. So I don't have any of the plants up against the side. And these being up high, like if there's a breeze or whatever, the scent will be higher from these plants. And so maybe go not as highly noticed, because if that sneaky snacker eats a hole in this enclosure, well, I say if, but you know me, I'm too nice. Nothing. I will do nothing bad. I will just be very sad and upset about it, because every time I feel like I think I figured something out, something else out there comes and says, no, you haven't. And then back in the corner here, but not up against the wall. Actually, that one is touching the side, but it's up high, but I do want to move it away, is my sassafras tree that's potted. And it went out on my big sassafras tree, or my spice bush. I find spice bush swallowtail caterpillars. They can come live in here. It's going to be glorious. I'm kind of thinking about putting in some potted passiflora incense in there, maybe on a little trellis. So I could put golf fritillaries in there if their population dwindles, or when the zebra longwings show up, which they are going to do. I can put them in there. It's just so easy, and I feel like there's more space and it feels more natural to them. Okay, so over here, I'm going to give you an update of my Mexican sunflower garden that has a blooming orange zestrum in a pot. But this has been here, and I love that it's blooming. So my problem with this is that a sneaky snacker comes and eats it all. And I should already have Mexican sunflowers blooming in my garden. But again, we're going through this and it set me back. But look at the buds on this. This seems to be working. This one is on a stand. So it's off the ground and it's wrapped in the wire, but it's open at the top. These three are on the ground, and they're wrapped in the wire, open at the top also, and they seem to have been left alone. And did I say they're in pots? They're in pots. And the wire is like twice the width high. It's like two of them stacked on top of each other. Now behind them I left two completely unprotected and they had been eaten down. You can see that one was completely eaten down and it is just now growing back. Then I tried some just 1 story high, one height of the wire. And those two so far have been left alone, but this one got munched. And then I have the ones that are 1 story high with the little lid. Those ones are fine, but I'm going to have to figure out how to make them taller soon because they outgrow that little 1 story one. So I'll probably have to add another story to these, which I can do. Now over here, I'm trying something else. I've got a cloche and I stuck the dowels through the sides so that the cloche can sit on them. And it makes me think of Kerplunk. Y'all know Kerplunk. I loved Kerplunk. So the snacker could climb up in there, but I'm hoping like it would bump a dowel and then be like scared away. So I just put this together today. We'll find out after a few days if it worked or not, because there's still open space here. Like it could climb up in there. So I don't know, but I think they spook easily. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll just keep trying because this worked and I'm going to have flowers. Look at that. So soon. And that's fabulous. Look at that. Orange Zestrum. I love it. Okay, back to the Florida native wildflower garden. I have all my little pots sitting out here still. And I'm not putting them in the ground yet because I still have a lot of potted plants in there that are coming out of dormancy, but they haven't come out far enough for me to know who they are. Like that, and that, and that, and that. And there's more in other places around my garden. So I'm waiting to see who they are so I know whether to put them to the back, to the front. So right now we're just all staying in our pots. And it's possible I might do some shopping and buy some new little things to put in there. And now I have a couple more things I want to show you. My spice bush is starting to come back. And it looks like I might get some kind of flowers on it. So that's really cool. My balloon milkweeds are really getting taller. You can see I did one of those makeshift cloche on top of the wire hardware to make more space. I have to do that one and that one still. That little hole right there used to be where my giant milkweed was. And I decided I wanted to give it more space so it can grow big. So I dug it up and I moved it right back over there. So cute. And then I put this trellis in front of it for the Florida native plumbago, because it gets long and stringy and I can just kind of lean it up against that instead of letting it sprawl everywhere. And I also plan to regularly trim it to try and shrub it out more instead of having it get long and leggy. So we'll see how that goes. That's the host plant to the Cassius blue butterfly, those little tiny babies. This snow square stem is really growing in. Look at how big it's gotten. And the little necklace pod beside it coming up, that's going to get up to be like a small tree. And this part here is super exciting. My Stokes asters are putting up buds that should bloom soon. And right beside it, starry rosinweed on the way. I love this. so much when these get up and are blooming in here with all this lyre leaf sage. It's going to be fabulous. And look what's happened. My irises, they're done. I can't wait to see those seed pods though. Also, this is my first year really having a mass planting of a lyre leaf sage, and I think I'm going to be very much cutting it back. Like, see this one stem right here, all the way down, and just observe and see, is it going to keep putting up new growth? Like this one here. Or what that's going to do. I just don't want to have all the brown in here. I like it with the purpley, the green, and then, oh my gosh, the white wild indigo. So beautiful. I love this garden. Also, I have got snow square stems coming up in this garden where that big one was on the corner. So, oh, look at my little cardinals. You see them over there? He just got some food and came and fed it to her. How adorable. Oh, look. She's sitting on the roof of the enclosure. I love it. Okay, back to what I was saying. So I've been coming over and digging out, like, see, there's one coming up right there under that pot. Digging up the snow square stems that are coming up in there. And I've been moving them back there. I just moved that one right there so they can kind of grow up and hide the ugly wall. I also had a lot of potted tropical sage plants that I planted in along here so they can kind of grow. And because used to have that beautiful full wall of firebush back there, and it is growing back, but just at the base, which means I'm probably just going to cut all these stems down and see how it grows. It'll probably be more shrubby than tall. And I'm concerned that the same is going to happen with my wild limes because they're coming back at the base. And yet I'm having no signs of anything, which breaks my heart because I love these trees, and it's going to take years to get back to this. And I'm not even sure when they grow back from the roots if they'll be tree-like again. They might stay more shrubby, but both of them are that way. And I'm still not able to bring myself to consider chopping them back because I love them. That makes me so sad. And speaking of so sad, I have other sad news. My little eastern tiger swallowtail caterpillar died. He just up and died. He was there in the middle of the leaf, and he is in the same spot. And the next day, and I was like, I don't think you're alive anymore. And I gave him a little nudge, and I still have him in there because I keep thinking, well, I don't want to give up yet, but I'm sure he's not alive, and that's just something that happens. But gosh, he's my only one. Okay, well, we're going to end this video on that sad note because it's getting late in the day, and I want this video up tonight. So I'll see you in a bit. So tap the like button and subscribe to my channel to stay tuned and follow all my adventures through this full backyard butterfly garden this year.